doing today? That's great. And to start us off today, you know how to transition into this. I want to start with a few polls. How many of you here have heard of or watched the movie The Princess Switch? It's good. And keep your hands up if they're already raised. Raise your hand if you've heard of the story of the Prince and the Pauper. Great. For those of you who haven't heard of the story, here it is. The Prince and the Pauper is a classic fairy tale about a prince and a pauper, which is essentially a nice way to say peasant, bumping into each other and noticing that they look exactly alike. And since they already hate their lives, they decide to switch what they look like. Over the countless time I've heard the story, or variations of it, there's been this nagging doubt in the back of my mind. What would it be like if people nowadays switch lives? That's why I, a middle schooler in North Carolina, with probably better things to do, decided to conduct the switch myself. I can see some of you starting to do so. And yes, I agree that the movie wasn't that great, but this switch was going to be epic. Me and my friend, who I was planning to switch lives with for this, have been preparing for this essentially our whole lives. And now I know what you're thinking. I bet they don't even look alike. Which is why, fortunately for you, I brought proof. This is my friend. Handsome, I know. And especially for some of you in the back, it might be hard for you to see my face. So, this is me. Here we are side by side for comparison. Identical. So, armed with the knowledge that we look exactly alike, and fully aware that our actions could completely change the world, we sat down and discussed it thoroughly over Skype. Sadly, with the world's current predicament, we couldn't very well switch lives per se, so we had to settle for just a little less. Disclaimer, no royals were harmed in the making of this talk. When choosing the person I was going to switch lives with, I wanted to go for the person most different from me. My friend is American, whilst I am Indian. This changes a lot of things, I think, in terms of family values and cultural ethics. I am a lonely only child, whilst my friend is the youngest of 5 siblings. When discussing with my friend, I noticed a lot of things I neglected about other people's lives. I also realized how oblivious I was to other people's struggles. I didn't realize how much courage, grit, and determination it took to be the youngest child in such an enormous family. I'm an only child, so I get a relatively large amount of time with my parents, and family life is peaceful and quiet, except for when I disturb it. However, I also noticed that my friend had neglected some things about me. My friend is average in age. Well, I'm astronomically tall. I don't think my friend knew of my annoyance when someone reminded me for the nth time that day that, whoa, you're so tall. However, I did know of her frustration when she had to look up to me to see me in the eyes, even though she was older. In the end, I noticed that we had some similar likes and dislikes, and I started to wonder how different we were, really. Talking to my friend was like looking into a mirror that told me what it would have been like if I'd been born into a different family, or decided to like apples instead of oranges. Really, the idea of switching lives is subjective. It's more like a temporary reroute on the subway of life. And then once I started to think about it, how different were people really? Is it who we are or who we're meant to be? After all, we're all human beings. We're all born on the same planet, we're all made of the same elements, and we all feel the same innate feelings. To quote one of my wise teachers, and yes, I know you'll be extremely surprised, I was taught by someone so influential. Albus Dumbledore once said the following: "It is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities." Now this quote provides valuable insight to what makes people similar. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people aren't unique. Everyone is different and special in their own way, but not wildly different. After all, some people might be better at math than others, and some might have beautiful singing voices, while others might not. But these abilities are fundamentally based off the choices one makes. If the mathematician had decided to take singing lessons as a child, would they have been the singer? And if the singer had paid attention during math, would they have been the mathematician? Everyone makes choices. Everyone, every single day. Choices are like switches. Switches we flick between one outcome and another. But I started to notice, with other people and myself, most people don't consider the outcomes of these switches that we flick. You see, even yesterday, I was faced with a situation like this, where I should have considered the outcome. I probably didn't. It was a choice so mind-shattering. I felt the very core of my being quaking with the enormity of the impact this choice would have on my life. What should I have for breakfast? It's a perilous situation, I know. But hear me out. I had two options. Chicken biryani and yesterday's avocado toast. Or making avocado toast. Yesterday's avocado toast would be disgusting. Given this information, what do you think I had for breakfast yesterday? You can shout it out. I knew what I had to. I made avocado toast. And I think I have a very good image of your mental situation right now. Healthy food over chicken biryani. What is this girl? Vegetarian? Yes. I am. See? I'm sure most of you would have chosen the chicken biryani. Well, maybe some of you, and I heard you, chose the avocado toast. Let's say those of you who chose the avocado toast had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to steal a record deal that afternoon. And with a clear singing throat, you would have nailed the audition, landing yourself as a world-class celebrity in no time. Now meet the people who chose chicken biryani. With all that, well, for those of you who don't know how chicken biryani is made, there's a lot of oil in it. So with all that grease lingering around your throat, there's no way you would have been able to sing properly. And so, you failed the audition astoundingly, and with no other backup plan, you end up working a job you hate and you have enough money to retire at the age of 85. That's an extreme exaggeration. But now you see, one choice can completely alter the course of your life. That switch that you flipped, hypothetically, between avocado toast and chicken biryani, which yes, it sounds extremely ludicrous, had the power to completely change your life. See, these choices that we make, these switches that we flick, aren't arbitrary. They have the power to change our next second, our next minute, our next hour, our next year of our life, or to even take us to a completely different world than we envisioned. Coming back to the princess switch, which I started talking about, let's say that you actually do get to socialize with some royal counterpart you never knew you had. Imagine, how long do you think it would take for you to revert back to your old habits? Let's say this. You're walking into your new room in this royal, grand palace for the first time. You open the door, step in, and it's old, antiquated, musty. It seems that your royal counterpart had an extreme liking for old Victorian-esque decoration. Would you settle for that? No, because you're royalty now. Let's say that you like marble. Now instead of only having enough to buy one poster, you have enough to plaster Chris Hemsworth's face all over your wall. See, nothing changed about you as a person when you switched lives. Sure, you might be a bit more snotty or self-absorbed, but hey, you still like marble. The only thing that changed, perhaps, were the things you woke up to, or the people that you saw every day, or the resources you had access to. And what about your royal counterpart, who switched into your life? Do you think that now they magically like marble? No, they're not obligated. And in that way, your similarities transcend old and new things. I want to let you off with the results of my experiment. People can be deceptively similar. Whether you're tall, short, American, Asian, an only child, or younger sibling. It'd probably be true if I told you that we're similar. After all, we're all human beings, and we're bound to be alike in some aspects. Someone can be a mirror image of you, or they can remind you of what you used to be like. And as human beings, we have this innate desire to want to get to know people who we think are similar to us. We think the more alike we are to someone, the more likely we are to become friends, right? Well, that isn't necessarily the case. See, you don't have to live like someone to be like someone. You certainly don't have to live with them to like them. So in the end, did this talk turn into a speech about why we should just let go of our differences and become best friends? Maybe. But imagine this. Think of someone that you really, really hate. It can be someone that you often butt heads with, or someone that you're jealous of, as long as you think that you're completely, undeniably different. I want to let you off with this final question.